Yo, Lee, it's me, DDP. That's right, brother, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing, the master of the diamond cutter, the three-time world champion, WWE Hall of Famer, and founder and CEO of DDP Yoga, better known today as DDPY. Why, Lee? I'll tell you why. Because I want people to stop calling it just fucking yoga. That's why. I don't know, Lee, if you're watching what AEW, what they're doing now. But in January, I shot an angle kind of with MJF, who is one of the greatest young talents on the planet right now. And we did a little promo back and forth. And at one point, I stopped for a second, and the entire building started chanting yoga. I was like, what the fuck? It made me laugh. Even though I hate people who call it yoga, I dig them calling it DDP yoga, but never just yoga. But in that scenario, I loved it. It was crazy. Okay, so nostalgia time. And my thoughts on the very last Nitro. Well, I wasn't even scheduled for that show. I wasn't scheduled for it. I wasn't supposed to be on it. But then I heard that Vince bought the company. Now, you gotta understand that wrestling had been on TBS. This is TNT, but still, Turner Broadcasting at that point for over 35 years. And I was a huge part of that show, as you know. I was on it for 8, but Nitro was only alive for about 6 of it, maybe 7. But I was, in the greatest spot in the world for 5 of those years. Like, I was in the main event, one main event after the other. But I came from total obscurity. So to have gotten to that level and know all the guys who, guys and girls who worked on that show. I mean, some of the camera operator guys, they've been working for that company for over 30 years. And now it's going bye-bye. Because Vince got his whole crew. He don't need anybody. And he's totally self-sufficient. I felt really bad for there's one guy named Moses. And Moses, I think he'd been there for like 30 plus years. And really good guy. But all those crew guys were super cool. And, I'm the every guy. I'm the regular dude. I could be hanging with, a bunch of working class people. I could be hanging with, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and I could be hanging with the president of Hell's Angels, which I do, Chuck Zito, when he used to be the president of Hell's Angels, a New York chapter. My point is that I can go anywhere with everybody. So those guys I really felt for when the show got bought. For me personally, I thought that my whole existence in professional wrestling was to go out on top in the WWF, which it was at the time. I had thought of my way I was going to come into it, and I'll share this with you. What I thought was going to happen, and this is 2 years before the final Nitro. I was in Canada to do a show, Nitro. WWE was in town to do just a regular house show. And they were doing it where they do all their pay-per-views. Right there at the Toronto, where the Blue Jays play. Humongous stadium. And they sectioned part of it off. And I'd gone there to see Big Show because I pretty much raised Big Show in the business. He came in at 24 years old, and I was the guy who got him ready to wrestle Hogan, because that's where I was at the power plant, because they weren't doing anything with me at the time. And that year would have been around, I want to say 93, maybe 94, but I think it was 93. And so Joe and I were super tight. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. So I was off that first night. They bring us in a day early. And I went to the show. And when Pat Patterson saw me there, he was like, "Oh my God, Diamond, great to see you." And then he hustled me up to a Sky booth where Big Show's family was. He's married to a great chick from Canada, Beth. And bottom line is, I went up there, watched his match, and then he came up, saw all the family, and then The Rock was the final match. So I said, I've never seen him, of course, on a house show. Let me watch him. So I watch him. We're getting ready to leave, and we're going into the locker room to get Show's bag. And we're walking in, and nobody's there. And on the way in, Big Show goes, "Hey, you want to meet The Rock?" I said, "I'd love to meet The Rock." So we walked in, it looked like nobody was there. So Show goes, "Hey, Rock, you still here?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm in the bathroom. I'm in the shower." And he goes, "Oh, great. I got some huge mark who's dying to meet you." I was like, "You son of a bitch." And I don't know why I said it, but I said it. And I said, "Yeah, I don't want to meet you unless you're, all soaped up." What did I say? "I don't want to meet you unless you're naked and your balls are all soapy." Something stupid like that. And Rock, here's my voice. Like, that voice doesn't belong in a WWE. I'm just going to call it WWE moving forward here. Arena or, locker room. So he sticks his head around the corner. He's just full of suds, which really cracked me up. Looked like the Michelin Man. And he goes, "Diamond, I'm right out." I go, "Take your time, bro." So he comes out. What a class act. I mean, he was just, and at the time, I was on top of the world, and Rock was on that rocket that he was being propelled on. And, he had the big Fu Manchu, he had the big sideburns, the big chops that he had on. And, I told him, I said, Jake told me about you. He was booking in 96 when you came in. And, after he met you, he called me up and he said, "Wait till you see the new guy they just brought in. It's Rocky Maivia's. Maivia's is his grandfather, and Rocky Johnson's his dad." He goes, "Bro, this guy's so good looking, I don't know if I want to fight him or fuck him." And Rock just burst out laughing. And he goes, "Yeah, it sounds like something that Jake would say." And I said, "I've been watching you because, Jake said the same thing about me. That I was going to be one of the biggest names in the business in 1993. And he really didn't have any reason to say that, because nothing I was showing at that time showed that I had that level of talent. And he said the same thing about Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was the ring bearer with Ted DiBiase. And so The Rock goes, "Jake's got a great eye for talent." And I said, there's something I really dug. I loved how the other day I saw you doing a promo somewhere, and you were this guy, Dwayne Johnson, and then you flipped into The Rock, and then you came this guy again, then you flipped into The Rock. I said, that shit was super entertaining. I said, "Listen, man, I wish you all the luck in the world, and it's great to meet you." And we shake hands, and I'm leaving, and he was super humble. And right as I got to the door, I hear, "Hey, Diamond." And Big Show gets out of my way, and you can see The Rock putting on one of his $1,500 Versace shirts, and he's just rolling into character. You can tell. And he says, "Diamond, there's only one People's Champion." And Big Show was like, "Oh, God, oh." And I just stared at him. And I let it wait, and I let it wait. And then I said, you know, Rock, you're right. And you, my friend, well, you're looking at him. Oh, and I was out the door as he raised the eyebrow. Big Show yells, oh my God, you stuffed him. Nobody stuffs him. Bottom line is, that night, we went out and got drunk as shit. I came back, and I woke up. I was married to Kimberly at the time. She was one of the Nitro girls, so she was with us. And I woke her up. I said, come on, wake up. I got to tell you, I'm going to show up at the WWF. She's like, what? What are you talking about? No, leave me alone. I go, no, I got to tell you. Bottom line is, I make her get up, and I tell her this shit. I'm envisioning at the time, I'm going to show up. She's like, what are you talking about? You just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal. I said, yeah, but my career ends in the WWE. And I said, just what they're going to do, when I show up, they're going to turn off all the lights. And friggin' everybody's going to think it's Jericho. But it's going to go 20, 30, 45 seconds. Jim Ross is going to go, hold on, everybody, we've got some technical difficulty. And then in an empty arena, all blacked out arena, you hear for the first time this voice. Who's the real People's Champion? And then a spotlight hits me. You're looking at him. And I throw up the diamond cutter, I do the bang. I told Kim, Rock will be injured. Or hell, he might be doing a movie. I don't know. Bottom line is, he won't be able to be there, and I'll be able to go on a rampage for a couple of weeks. Like, that idea was ingrained in my mind for 2 fucking years. And when I get up there, and me and Kim got there late because the traffic was crazy, and I went to see Vince. Shane was there too, great guy. Really love Shane. They told me that they wanted me to be the stalker. And trying to be the team player, I didn't say what I was thinking, which I was thinking, Vince, are you looking at my wife? Like, I'm going to do what? But I played the teamwork and basically said, Vince, I do have another idea. And it was the first time I didn't give an idea with the conviction that I should have. Because every idea I ever have, I'm getting to the end of it. Like, I'm going to get there. It's why I've been so successful. But I gave it to Vince like an afterthought. And when he said, no, not really, we really want you to do the stalker, this is what I learned. I learned you can't be afraid to get up and walk away from the table. What I should have done was stand up, shook Vince's hand, Shane's hand, and say, hey, Vince, I totally understand. When you want to do People's Champion versus People's Champion, bro, give me a call. That's what I should have done. I didn't do that, and so that leads me to your question. What was it like coming into WWE? I never realized it in the beginning. I was like not immune, but I was, I don't know what the word would be. I wasn't aware of the heat that WCW had. I wasn't aware that we were really seen as the enemy. But I never did nothing to them. But if I look at it from their side of it, I was one of the top guys in the company. We almost put them out of business. I never wanted that. And none of the boys wanted WCW to go away from WWE, and none of the guys from WCW wanted anybody to go away from WWF, because we need that Coke and Pepsi. That's why it's so great that AEW is alive today. So bottom line is, that's the lesson I learned. And it was the biggest. Vince, I thank Vince every time I see him, because he really did teach me the biggest lesson. I tell people all the time, if you don't make mistakes along the way, you ain't going to learn shit. You got to learn from your mistakes. Now, trying the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same result, that's Einstein's definition of insanity. You know, you've got to constantly change what you're doing if something's not working. But I learned, and I'll tell you what, bro, I would never be so successful with DDPY. I'm branding everything DDPY. Still going to be DDP Yoga. But I'm branding everything DDPY, like I said earlier, because I want people to stop calling it just fucking yoga. You know, but you know, not there's anything wrong with yoga, but we're just different. I just learned that over the period of my tenure, it took 8 years for my company, DDPY, to be an overnight success. As a wrestler, it took me 8 years to become an overnight success. And I learned such a valuable lesson from Vince. And did I think I was treated fairly coming in there? No. But do I think I was fairly treated these last 7 years? How WWE's treated me? I think they treat me like gold. No, I mean, I have nothing but love for the WWE. And especially for helping me get the word out about Jake turning his life around. Anytime I showed up on their program, they let me wear my DDP Yoga or DDPY stuff. I mean, what's better than that? You know, but to really be able to show, and if you haven't seen The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, you need to watch it. It's up on Amazon Prime. You can see it there. They were really helpful to me. So, was I sad for all the people who worked in WCW? Abso-fucking-lutely. Was I sad for me when it happened? No. Because I knew my career was going to end in WWE. Did I think it was going to go like that? No fucking way. But did I learn a lot from that? Fucking unbelievable. An unbelievable amount I learned as a businessman. And if that doesn't happen to me, I am never in the spot of changing people's lives on a whole different level today. If I end up working with The Rock, who knows what happens? I would love to have worked for The Rock. I would love to have worked with one of my best friends, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I would have loved to work with Shawn Michaels. I mean, I would have loved to work with those guys. But that wasn't my destiny. This was. This is my purpose. This is what I'm put on this earth to do. To change people's lives and help them. You know, sometimes I just change their lives, but friggin', you know, in Jake's life and Scott's position, I think they'd be the first to tell you that I saved their life. And I didn't do it. They did it. I just was the guide. And you're the first one that's ever asked me a question like this. And I didn't know I was going to go with it, all this rhetoric, and you're going to get, damn, close to 20 minutes. But reminiscing about that shit, it really makes me grateful. You know, I even though it wasn't the run I wanted in WWE, and in the beginning there was a lot of hard times, but there was a lot of fun times too. And it was exactly what was supposed to happen to me to make me the guy I am today. And again, very grateful to Triple H, Stephanie Levesque, I should say, but better known as Stephanie McMahon, to Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, hell, my girl, what's your last name, honey?
McMahon.
What's your first name?
Paige.
You got that? Her first name is Paige. Her last name's McMahon. I'm going to have McMahons around me forever. So, and I love them all. They were so good to me over these last 7 years. I can't, you know, going in the Hall of Fame was one of the greatest moments of my life because it really proved that work ethic equals dreams. Inside my Hall of Fame ring, it says work ethic equals dreams. Exclamation point. DDP. All right, monkey. Last thing, I'm giving you, you know, I've now freaking realized, Lee, we've done this before. So I knew there was a reason why I'm going on and on and on, because this isn't your first rodeo with me on Cameo. So I'm imagining you got the app, but if you haven't by now, make sure you contact Robert at ddpyoga.com, and get the app. And once again, make sure you do your DDPY, or else, monkey, bang! 20 minutes, bang!